This is an overview and training of the new OPG equipment and material list used on IMR and project work for the OPG group. The project manager will initialize this form. Once the file has been opened, you have to enable the content to allow macros. First item of business will be to complete the header, project name, job number, vessel, project name, logistics coordinator, and the revision. Generally you'll start with revision 0 and a date and move forward from there with each additional update. Once the header has been completed, the next order would be for the project manager to complete the information of the material and equipment needed. You may decide to give header sections to your project equipment list and then complete the list as you would in the past. Once the equipment and material list has been filled out, you'll move on to the next step, and we'll give a quick overview here of some items that have been added. Added quantity sent, quantity return, whether or not it is OPG equipment or some other, but basically it's just a yes or no on that. If it is OPG equipment, a drop-down list will appear to pick from the OPG equipment list. That will also autofill the dimensions and weight coming on across. You'll have a MOB EMO number. This form has 10 EMOs that will autofill based on these numbers. These will be filled out by the logistics coordinator later on in this process, and basically a sign-off sheet when received. Coming back at the end of the job, you have the DMOB section that has been added, some comments for DMOB, the DMOB EMOs. Once again, there are 10 EMOs for DMOB, and also a place for a receipt back at railroad yard. And if items are not returned, basically a category for the reason why it wasn't returned and a comment. So continue on. Once the equipment list has been populated by the project manager, the next item is to go ahead and create an OPG equipment list. This will be used by the equipment manager and the project manager to give the status of equipment. By clicking on the macro button, the OPG equipment plan will be populated. The project manager, once this has been completed, will complete the required date, the required testing information, and testing dates. The required date is generally going to be your MOB date, and any testing that would be needed would also have its corresponding date. The equipment manager would complete this status, the current location, current configuration, such as if pad sizes or wire, rope sizes, and such. Once the OPG equipment plan has been created, the next step would be for the project manager is to create a section 8 table that can be imported into a Word document. Simply by pushing the macro button for that, it will create a table of equipment to be inserted into a procedures manual. Once the list has been created, the project manager needs to highlight the table, the entire table. I'm not going to highlight it all, I'm just going to take part of it, copy it, and then insert that in the appropriate section in a Word document in the procedures, section 8. Once in the Word document, simply would come to its insertion point and paste it. Once it's been pasted, select the table, right click on it, and resize the table to 7" or what is appropriate for your Word document. Generally is 7. and this will fit. In addition, you may want to select the header row on the table and come up and select it as a header for the table, so repeating header. At this point, the file will be forwarded to the logistics coordinator and to the equipment manager for their input. The logistics coordinator would complete the required items to be sent after reviewing equipment list with the vessel. He would also complete any MOB comments that need be, any actions by, and then complete the MOB EMO numbering as required by the number of trucks and shipping as per the OPG detailed equipment plan. Once you may note the red flags. If the quantity returned is less than the quantity sent, it sends up a red flag, and this is mainly for the demo process. Once this has been completed, the MOB numbering has been filled out, the logistics coordinator can hit the create MOB EMO macro button to create all the EMOs, and we'll auto-fill these out. Once the EMOs have been completed, the file could be sent on to the boat and to the project manager for final review, and it also gives an electronic copy of all your EMOs, also your packing lists, and your packing list for your various boxes or containers or pallets. Here's an example of one of the EMOs. It's a standard EMO. Some information still needs to be completed, such as special instructions, or possibly this header portion here. The 2 is defaults to the vessel and the OII dock in Fushan. The B numbers are simply packing lists for containers, boxes, pallets, and would go along with a EMO. The completion of the project, the same form would then be utilized to complete the DMOB EMOs. These are simply D numbers. As vessel superintendent or if the project manager is on the job, you may complete these. You have a drop-down list for those, and they would be based on your DMOB plan. And as previously mentioned, if an item is not coming back, such as needed for the next job, the number would then be 0 or less than quantity sent, and the example would then be filled out. And that's where all these red flags would require some information as why they were not sent back. Once again, once the numbers have been assigned for the EMO, oops, wrong button. That was the equipment list, don't need to do that again. The create DMOB EMO macro button is pushed. This will create the EMOs for DMOB. Autofill these out. Once again, on the return, it will come from the OII dock and back to railroad as default. Additional information has to be completed. The vessel comes from the cover sheet that the PM originally filled out on the header information, but all of this can be changed as required. This form is not password protected and can be updated to meet the specifications of any project. Once again, the OPG return is just a checkoff sheet that items have been returned back into inventory, and that will be used by railroad logistics coordinator. And that would complete the training and overview of this project. Should you have any questions, please feel free to contact Steve Olmos on any changes or questions.